Hi everyone, welcome back to the Planet video series. It's time for the first draft. So you've been building up to writing a full-fledged story. You've had the source list, you've been doing a lot of reporting, you have a news brief, which is really a story, but it's not the fully expanded sort of magazine style story that we're going to be looking for. Likewise for the video and for the photo essay, you guys have been building up, but you haven't really tried to do the full meal. So this is your first shot at that. So I've created 3 separate videos, one for writers, one for photographers, and one for videographers. But this introduction is going to be the same for everybody. So I want to go over just a few of the essentials and then some common weaknesses that I see so that you can try to work to address those. So the essentials. For writers, your story is going to be about 900 words long. You should have at least 3 human sources and 3 document sources in your story. It should have a setting, it should have a clear focus, and it should be perfect in terms of the mechanics, grammar, spelling, AP style, things like that. Photographers, you should have 6 to 8 strong photos that all connect together as a story, and you should have a text that goes along with it that's 200 to 500 words long. You should have at least 1 human source in that photo essay. Videographers, you're going to be creating a video plan, which includes a script of the story and a spreadsheet that breaks down scene by scene how that script is going to be told in visuals. Okay, so the first draft is the most important part of the first draft is your sources. What you've really been doing up to this point is reporting, trying to gather your sources together. And having good sources is going to be the cornerstone of having a good first draft. There's a little bit less emphasis in the first draft on writing technique. What we're really looking for is how's your reporting going, and is your story coming together into a complete story? So sources, sources, sources. For photographers, obviously, you're also going to want to have strong images. And for videographers, you should be starting to get a sense of what's going to make for strong images. Okay, other things, writing technique. Yeah, you like the train. I think we're going to be interrupted here in a minute, but bear with me. Okay, writing technique is going to be important, and structure is going to be important. Those are some things that are really going to help your first draft be a strong draft. So what are some common weaknesses that I've seen in first drafts? I'll break it down into 2 different categories: reporting weaknesses and writing weaknesses. So in terms of reporting weaknesses, one of the fundamental weaknesses that I'll see is a lack of adequate facts. So there's going to be some kind of gaps that's going to leave a reader feeling like they're missing some kind of critical information for understanding the story. So you really want to have your basic facts lined up. Those facts are going to depend on what your story is, but you don't want to have big gaps. Okay, so facts. Another thing that I'll see is a lack of crucial voices in the story. So stakeholders that are missing in the sources, and inevitably that's going to happen a little bit with first drafts because you're still doing your reporting, so you might still be waiting to arrange an interview, but I want to see evidence that you're trying to fill all of the different voices that you really need to have a complete story. And then another thing that I see missing is a setting. Now, you might not be able to go visit the places that you're reporting on given the lockdown, but you should still have a specific place where action is happening. Okay, so those are some of the main reporting weaknesses that I have. In terms of writing weaknesses, there's 4 that I want to talk about. One is jargon. So one of your major jobs as a reporter is to translate from technical information into language that people can understand and that they find interesting. And often what I see is that jargon, technical language that's used by scientists or economists or politicians, all kinds of fields have jargon. specific words that they use that normal people wouldn't use in normal conversation. You're trying to translate into normal conversation. And you should think about it like this. You should think about writing for, let's say, a high schooler or a parent or someone like that who has basic scientific understanding of things, but really does not understand the complexities of the fields that you're writing about. They should be able to understand it without needing long definitions or without having to go look up what a word means. So jargon, you really want to watch for that. Another thing that I see is fluff. And what I mean by that is writing that seems to go on longer than it needs to. It's often filled with adverbs and adjectives and other kinds of things that really, sometimes those things are helpful, but a little bit can go a long way. And my sense often is that when I see that, it's because a reporter is essentially trying to get to 900 words when they don't have 900 words worth of facts for their story. And so that comes back to good reporting and lots of reporting. Fluff. Another related thing is opinion. This can be really a challenge for people, I think, particularly because in academic writing, you're often told to have an opinion and, state your case. For our journalism, we're really working to not do that. We're really working to sort of stick to the facts and tell people the facts and sort of the true story as we've seen it. But I think it's happening for two reasons. One is because people just reflexively want to include their opinion. They don't even realize when they're doing it. And the other thing is that it's a lack of reporting in the same way that fluff is. I think people often, if they don't have the facts, they try to resort to opinion instead. And that comes in the form of sort of sweeping statements about the nature of something that either is not based on quotes from sources or isn't based on hard facts. Opinion is fine if it's coming from your sources. That's one of the role that sources play, is that they offer their opinion about what's happening, but it shouldn't be coming from the reporter. Okay. And then the last thing that I see is lack of organization. Sometimes I'll read first drafts and it feels like somebody sort of dumped their notebook onto the page and didn't really think ahead about how to arrange their story in a clear way. And that lack of organization, frankly, I think it often comes from people trying to do their story at the last minute. You should really give yourself 3 or 4 days to write this. Writing is a long process. It involves multiple steps. You're going to have to go back over through your story a number of times. You're also going to want to map it out in advance. So I think lack of organization often is because people don't give themselves enough time. Now, there's going to be a couple of other videos that you're going to be able to view in the week leading up to the final draft, first draft. Don't want to get you scared. Okay, first draft that will spell out how to think about structure and organization, and also writing techniques to improve the writing quality in your story. So there is more guidance and help coming from me, and of course there's going to be a lot of help coming from your editors.
All right, photographers, let's talk about the first draft of your photo essay. If you're a writer or a videographer, you're in the wrong place. Please go find the video that's for your section. Photographers, this is the Canvas page for your first draft assignment. Please read it in detail so that you understand what the expectations are. I'm just going to give you a quick highlight of some of the main points. First of all, 6 to 8 photos for the photo essay, each of them with basic one-sentence captions at the bottom explaining what's in each photo. You should submit this as a PowerPoint file. Please use low-resolution JPEGs. Don't use monstrous files. You can submit the full raw images to the photo editor with your final draft, but you don't need to do that here. You want to have an updated source list. That source list will go at the top of the text for your story. Your text should be between 200 and 500 words long. That will be your story. It will be submitted as a Word doc with a title that clearly connects it to the PowerPoint file so that we don't lose track of the two. It should use the same basic format as the news brief. So if you're trying to figure out what it should look like, look to the news brief template as an example. It should have the same kind of header, the source list at the top, and the self-analysis at the bottom. If you're writing a news story, you should write them as extended captions. Each photo should get a caption that's approximately 50 words long. And when the captions are arranged together in order, they should read like a complete story. If you're writing an essay, each photo does not need to have an extended caption. Instead, the essay will be one continuous text. Obviously, everything needs to be perfect in terms of AP style, grammar, spelling, etc. Here's what the grading is going to be based on for this draft. 30% of the grade is going to be image quantity, 6 to 8 photos. 20% is going to be story coverage. Does it feel like a complete story? 10% is going to be image sequencing. Does it feel like they're in the right order? Caption quantity is 10%. Caption quality is 10%. Editor opinion is 20%. Things are going to shift a bit in the final draft in terms of the expectations, but that's where we're at with this first draft. All right, I'm looking forward to seeing your photo essays.